Hello everybody, my name is Tanya and welcome to my Arts Creations channel. And what I have for you today is this cute little watercolor red cardinal, all bundled up for the winter cold and looking all frosty. And it's a pretty easy, pretty good for beginners, and I'll show you how I did it. These are my watercolors that I used, and the colors are primary red, permanent pink, deep green, cobalt, blue hue, neutral tint, and burnt umber. And it's a little Sennelier kit that I have, student grade. If you don't have this, just use similar colors that you do have. I also used a white colored pencil and a posca pen and a white gel pen. And I started out with a 4x6 piece of watercolor paper, and I sketched out my cardinal on a piece of paper, just a drawing piece of paper, and I'm going to transfer that to my, or trace it, I should say, to my watercolor paper. And I did that, and now I'm taking a pen, a black marker, waterproof marker, and I'm outlining the drawing that I transferred to the watercolor paper. Just to, so it's kind of like a line and wash, if you want to say. Just drew a quick little sketch over my pencil marks with my black line, my black marker. I find this is kind of easier to do, line and washes for beginners. Kind of gives you a guideline, and if you do go over the lines or it looks a little messy or something, you know, it's kind of more forgiving. If you have a line there, like a line and wash technique, it just kind of can look almost whimsical and cute if you go over the lines. Just my opinion. So if you're a beginner, I think it's a good way to start watercolor, is just using your waterproof marker to sketch your drawing, and then using your watercolors to fill it in. So here I'm starting with a wet on wet background, and I'm going to be starting with a cobalt blue hue. Then I will be adding deep green. I will be putting the colors in the description. So after you have the background all nice in there, wet on wet, then I'm taking some salt, and I sprinkle it around to give it that some salt effects for the background. There it is, all nice and dry. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a mixture of the primary red and the permanent pink. Since the background is kind of a cool color, I thought the permanent pink and the primary red together would look nice, kind of to cool down the red a little bit. And I'm working wet on dry on the birdie. I started with a lighter wash, and I'm just kind of darkening it as I go, and just mixing the red with the pink, and dropping in the color. So now it's basically wet on wet. But it does dry fast because it's really dry where I'm at right now. So the paint does dry fast. I'm just gradually making the value darker as I go. So I wanted to add a darker color. So I took a little bit of the neutral tint and mixed it in with that mixture I had of the red and the pink. And adding that to the areas where I think there would be some shadow and darker colored feathers. I'm just taking out a little bit of the color. And there it is dry. So I am taking my smaller brush there, and I'm just taking some of that neutral tint and going over the black mask on the face there, and a little bit in the eyes too. I did have it colored in with some of the pen. I had lines there, but I wanted to add it some more to darkness to the lines there. And then I took out a little bit of the color where the beak is to create a highlight. And now I'm taking a light wash of the permanent pink. Just went over the scarf, and now I'm adding some of the burnt umber and a mixture of the pink and the red that I had with some of the neutral. And I'm painting using that to paint the branch, and then some of the cobalt blue for where the snow is on the top of the branch, and adding some of the cobalt blue also to the scarf. And then dropping in some of the white on the top there of the branch just to make it look like snow. Then I decided to use a Q-tip for the snow. And I forgot to put the Q-tip in my supplies. I'm so sorry. So I'm using a Q-tip here, putting it in that white. It's a watercolor white, actually. It's not gouache. And just dipping it in there, pressing it down to create kind of like snowflakes, round snowflake look. Now I'm coming in with my white gel pen, and I'm just going around the border of the birdie with little, kind of look like little, marks like a feathers, and then adding some of the white to around the eyes and around the beak. So basically just going over the white, going over the black outline that I made with the black liner. I'm just going over that with the white gel pen. And adding some dots with the white gel pen to look like snow. And using my white pen to put some details on the scarf. Next is my posca pen, a little bit more opaque than the gel pen. So I'm just making some little marks over the branch to make it look like snow. And put a little bit more of the white over the dots of the eyes, and a little bit more white on the scarf. then some more dots to make it look like snow. So I thought I was done, and then I decided to add some, take my color pencil just to add a little bit of a texture, because it kind of gives a frosty look around the car nose, the edges, around the scarf, and a little bit on the beak there. I really like the way the white looks for, you know, for Christmas time. It makes things kind of look frosty. I put a little bit on the belly. See, it gives it kind of a little bit of a frosty look. That's it. I hope you guys enjoy this red cardinal and try one yourself. You guys have a good day. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you shortly with the next one. Bye-bye.